Al Capone Trial, 1931, by Morgan McGregor. Okay, so who is Al Capone? Al Capone was the head of a famous crime syndicate in Chicago. He was the mastermind behind the Valentine's Day Massacre and linked with a whole bunch of other crimes that there was not enough evidence for to be made a case against him. But this trial, they caught him on tax evasion, which is not paying your taxes. Okay, so early life. So when Al Capone was a child, he grew up with 7 siblings, and he had poor immigrant parents that were coming to America looking for a better life. His father was a barber and his mother was a seamstress. And he was pretty good at school in elementary school. But after that, he kind of started falling behind. He was skipping school. And at some point, he just stopped going to school entirely. So the trial. So as I said before, the trial, what caught Al Capone was tax evasion. So the defense for Al Capone was claiming that he had no income, so he could not pay the taxes, so therefore he was not guilty of tax evasion. But the prosecutor's side was asking how he could afford all the property, all the cars, and all the luxury items he owned if he had no income. See, the thing is, Al Capone got all his money from all this like dirty work and crime stuff. So he didn't consider it as an income, even though you still are getting money and he's not paying taxes on that money he's getting. So therefore, he is guilty of tax evasion, which he was convicted for in the end. So anything that was questionable in this trial? Well, in the beginning of the trial, before the trial, there was an investigation into Al Capone. This investigation was kept secret and only the jury knew about it. So Al Capone knew nothing about the trial or the investigation for quite some time. But when the trial started, when he knew, they tried to get him a plea deal for 2 to 5 years in jail if he pleaded guilty. Although, when the public heard of this, they were outraged and they just didn't want this to happen, so they took the deal off the table. So now, Al Capone didn't have this deal for 2 to 5 years, so if he was found guilty, he would be in jail for much longer. Because of this, he got his underlings to try and bribe the jury. Is he innocent or guilty? Well, from reading the trial, I would say he's guilty because, of course, tax evasion, if he's not paying taxes and he's owning things, of course there's something of like a disconnect, like, of course he's making money if he has all this stuff, but he was claiming he wasn't, but that just doesn't seem relevant, or like exactly how it should be, because he has to have money somehow to pay for the stuff. So he is guilty of tax evasion, and this is what the jury convicts him of. So he is found guilty. Now is the trial unfair or fair? So the court tried its best to make this a fair trial. There was that plea deal that they had originally, but that was taken off the table because the citizens and the general public thought it was unfair for him to get this special treatment. So after that was taken out, it was kind of a fair game court trial. Also, to keep this a fair trial, they had the jury changed because they did not want the jury to be tampered with to vote that he's not guilty. They wanted to make it a true opinion. So this overall was a fair trial. They fairly found Al Capone guilty of tax evasion, and he was finally put in jail. And he went to Alcatraz, which is a famous prison island.